Imagine a grand historical wedding. The bride, Lady Eleanor, radiant and seemingly demure. But this isn't about love. As she walks down the aisle, her heart beats not with affection, but with a single, cold purpose. To utterly destroy the man waiting at the altar, the man who ruined her family. This isn't your grandmother's fairy tale. It's a cunning game of deception, where the heart becomes the deadliest weapon. Today, we delve into the story of a woman who married for vengeance, not love, and orchestrated a deception that would echo through history. To understand Eleanor's chilling resolve, we must first witness the scandalous downfall of the Ashworth family. They were once a name synonymous with honor and prosperity, their influence woven into the very fabric of high society. But overnight, it all came crashing down. A trusted business partner, a man her father considered a brother, orchestrated a devastating betrayal. He manipulated ledgers, spread malicious rumors, and engineered a financial collapse that left the Ashworths penniless and stripped of their reputation. They were publicly humiliated, their name dragged through the mud, becoming a cautionary tale whispered at every gala and dinner party. In the immediate aftermath, as the family reeled from the shock, a young Eleanor watched her father, a once proud man, wither under the weight of shame. She heard the whispers, saw the pitying glances, and felt the sting of social exile. It was in those quiet, desperate moments that a seed of vengeance was planted. Her internal monologue wasn't one of grief, but of cold, calculating fury. She wouldn't just restore her family's name. She would dismantle the architect of their ruin, piece by painful piece. And she quickly realized the most intimate, most devastating weapon she could wield was marriage. Her target, the very man who had destroyed them, now a powerful and respected figure. His one vulnerability was his desire for a respectable, high-born wife to cement his new status. Eleanor would be that wife. Her plan was a masterclass in subtlety. The courtship was flawless. She played the part of the enamored, slightly naive young lady to perfection. Her smiles were genuine enough to disarm. Her gazes held just the right amount of admiration. No one, least of all her suitor, suspected the ice in her veins. On se maried, the unveiling of her true intentions began, not with a bang, but with a series of quiet, almost imperceptible actions. It started with misplacing a crucial business ledger just before an important meeting. Then, a seemingly innocent comment to a rival's wife, planting a seed of doubt about her husband's business ethics. These were subtle clues, tiny cuts that went unnoticed individually, but were part of a larger, intricate web of deceit. But this masquerade took a heavy emotional toll. Eleanor lived a double life. By day, she was the perfect, doting wife, managing the household and charming society. By night, she pored over documents, studied her husband's finances, and plotted her next move. The internal conflict was immense. There were moments when his kindness, his seeming affection, threatened to crack her resolve. She had to constantly remind herself of her family's suffering, of the promise she made to herself. The sacrifice was immense. She was sacrificing her own youth, her own chance at genuine happiness, on the altar of revenge. Then, the first real domino fell. She discovered a secret, highly leveraged investment her husband had made. Using a trusted intermediary, a former servant of her family, she leaked anonymous information to his financial rivals. The market shifted, the investment collapsed, and for the first time, her husband's impenetrable empire showed a crack. He dismissed it as bad luck, never suspecting the enemy was sleeping in his own bed. With the first taste of success, Eleanor's vengeance unfolded with chilling precision. Her calculated strikes became bolder. She used the social access her marriage afforded her to devastating effect. She would host lavish parties, only to ensure a key investor overheard a carelessly whispered remark about her husband's precarious financial position. She cultivated friendships with the wives of his political allies, subtly turning them against him by revealing carefully selected, embellished truths about his character. It was a campaign of social ostracization, dismantling his reputation one relationship at a time. He went from being the toast of the town to a man people avoided, his invitations politely declined, his business partners suddenly unavailable. The husband's dawning realization was a slow, agonizing process. At first, he was just confused. Why were deals falling through? Why were old friends suddenly so distant? He blamed the market. He blamed rivals. He blamed anything but the beautiful woman who soothed his worries each night. But the coincidences started piling up. He noticed a familiar turn of phrase from a damaging anonymous pamphlet in Eleanor's own letters. He saw the flicker of triumph in her eyes after a particularly disastrous business dinner. The suspicion grew, festering into a horrifying certainty. The woman he thought he knew, the wife he had come to genuinely care for, was a phantom. She was the architect of his ruin. The confrontation, when it finally came, was not explosive, but eerily quiet. It was a moment of devastating clarity for him, and for Eleanor, a bitter triumph. She had won. His fortune was in tatters. His name was a disgrace, and he was a social pariah. She had avenged her family. But as she stood there, looking at the broken man before her, the satisfaction she had craved for so long was hollow. The cost of her revenge was starkly apparent. She had spent years living a lie, hardening her heart until she barely recognized herself. She had achieved her goal, but she had lost a part of her soul in the process. Was it worth it? That was the question that would haunt her. The aftermath of Eleanor's deception sent ripples far beyond their marriage. Her husband disappeared from public life, a broken man. Eleanor, having reclaimed her family's honor, found herself in a strange limbo. Society, once it pieced the story together, was both horrified and fascinated. She became a legend, a cautionary tale about the fury of a woman scorned. But she lived a solitary life, the architect of her own gilded cage. The long-term impact on herself was profound. She had proven she could be as ruthless and cunning as any man, but it left her isolated, unable to trust or to love. Her story forces us to look deeper into the psychological complexity of using love as a weapon. Affection and intimacy, the very things that are meant to build connection, became her tools for destruction. She weaponized vulnerability, turning her husband's trust and affection for her into his greatest weakness. This raises complex questions about the nature of love, trust, and betrayal. Can an act, born of such deep-seated pain and rage, ever be truly justified? Eleanor's actions were a direct response to a grave injustice, a fight for her family's survival in a world where she had little power. Ultimately, the enduring message of Lady Eleanor's story is a complex one, leaving us to ponder the morality of her choices. There is no easy answer. Was she a villain, a cold-hearted manipulator who destroyed a man's life? Or was she a heroine, a righteous avenger who took back what was stolen from her family using the only means available to her? Perhaps she was both. Her historical deception serves as a powerful, unsettling reminder that the lines between love and hate, justice and revenge, are often terrifyingly thin. It's a story that stays with you, forcing you to question how far you would go to right a terrible wrong. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the hidden corners of history. See you next time.